You know, if you think the beverage industry is still all about Coke versus Pepsi, you're looking at a story that's already over. That fight is ancient history. Today, a new, way more complex battle is happening. It's a fight not just for your thirst, but for your energy, your health, your entire state of mind. So, who is actually winning this new beverage war? Well, according to a really deep dive audit from HDIN Research, the answer is changing, and it's changing fast. What they've uncovered is a massive tectonic shift that's reshaping the entire industry as we speak.
So here's what we're going to break down. We'll start with this great shift happening in 2025, then we'll see how the giants are building their defensive moats and how the disruptors are completely changing the game. We'll also look at why the middle ground is getting absolutely crushed, and finally, lay out the playbook for what it's going to take to win in 2026.
Okay, first things first, we have to understand the single biggest force behind this whole industry earthquake, and it comes down to a fundamental change in why we buy drinks. We've moved way beyond just quenching thirst. Now we expect every single thing we sip to do a job for us.
And the core idea here has a name: functional substitution. Just think about your own habits. You're not just grabbing a soda anymore, right? You're buying an energy drink for focus, or an electrolyte drink for recovery, or maybe a wellness shot to get you through the afternoon. This one simple change is rerouting billions of dollars across the market.
And I mean, the numbers on this slide, they tell the whole story. It is a tale of two completely different industries. You've got the legacy guys like PepsiCo and Coca-Cola literally watching their sales volumes shrink. At the same time, functional brands are seeing absolutely explosive growth. Celsius is up over 85%, and Dongpeng's electrolyte water is up a mind-blowing 119%. The money is talking, and it is on the move.
So this huge shift has basically cracked the industry into three distinct tiers. It's a new model that HDIN Research has identified. Up top, you've got the cash cows, the giants protecting their castles. In the middle, you have the growth engines. These are the disruptors with all the momentum. And then down at the bottom, the structural challengers, who are getting caught in a brutal squeeze.
All right, let's start at the top with Tier 1. How are the giants, the big guys like Coca-Cola, actually holding on while the ground is literally shifting under their feet? Well, they're not attacking. They're digging in and building defensive moats around their business.
And Coca-Cola is the perfect example of this. They are absolute masters at using their incredible brand power and their super efficient franchising model to just protect profits. But what's really fascinating is their goal. They're not trying to sell more cans of Coke. No, they're trying to make more money from every single can they already sell.
And this right here just lays out their big problem. See, the revenue number is going up, which looks good, but it's only going up because they're raising prices. The actual number of drinks people are buying is either flat or going down. So what does that tell you? This is a fortress strategy, not a growth strategy. It's all about survival, not expansion. Now, when these giants do try to buy their way into growth, it can blow up in their face, big time. Take a look at this number, $1.9 billion. That is the massive write-down PepsiCo had to take on its acquisition of the Rockstar energy brand, a nearly $2 billion mistake.
And as the HDIN analysis points out, the party of just buying up growth is pretty much over. In today's economy, these mega deals are under a serious microscope. Investors are looking at the price tag and they're asking some really tough questions, like, was this really worth it?
Okay, so now let's shift gears to the most exciting part of the market, the growth engines. These are the companies that aren't just playing in the market, they're the ones actively remaking it from the ground up.
I mean, the growth here is just on another level. This chart makes the gap look massive because, well, it is. On one side, you have the disruptors shooting straight up like a rocket, and on the other, you've got the old guard just trying not to fall. This is where all the excitement and all the capital is flowing right now.
What's really cool is how they're winning. They're taking two totally opposite paths to the top. First, you've got the asset-light model. Think Celsius and Monster. They outsource all the boring stuff, production, distribution, so they can focus only on building the brand. And the efficiency is insane. Celsius generates $1.68 million in revenue per employee. Then you have the integrated chain model, like Dongpeng, which does the opposite. They own their entire supply chain, which gives them ultimate control over costs and makes them incredibly resilient. And to really wrap your head around the power of that integrated model, look at this number, 4.5 million. That's how many retail terminals, we're talking stores, kiosks, vending machines, that Dongpeng has locked down in China. That isn't just a distribution network. It's a physical wall that's almost impossible for a competitor to get over.
But let's be real. This kind of insane growth doesn't come without risk. Not at all. Celsius, for instance, is carrying almost $1 billion in goodwill from acquisitions on its balance sheet. That's basically a ticking time bomb if growth ever slows down. Even a powerhouse like Monster is hitting some bumps, taking a nearly $40 million write-down on their new alcohol business. So the big question is, can the rocket ship stay in orbit?
Which brings us to the most dangerous place to be in the beverage world right now, that squeezed middle ground. This is home to the structural challengers.
These companies are stuck, caught in a brutal crossfire. They just don't have the scale and pricing power of the giants above them, but they also don't have the speed and explosive growth of the disruptors below them. They're strategically stranded right in the middle of a war zone. And the HDIN audit found some serious red flags in this tier. You've got Primo brands carrying over $3.5 billion in that risky goodwill. Then there's Guangzhou Baiyushan, which is reporting profits on paper, but its actual operating cash flow is negative. That's a classic warning sign that the cash isn't really coming in the door. And then there's Zavia, which is straight up losing the war for shelf space. They're being forced to pull their own products from stores. So the industry's a mess. It's been totally reshuffled. What's the playbook for winning from here on out? Well, let's look at the strategic keys for 2026.
HDIN Research nails it down to 3 things you absolutely have to get right. First, deep digital intelligence. Using AI to master your distribution isn't a nice-to-have anymore. It's mission-critical. Second, supply chain localization. With all the global uncertainty, making your products locally is just smart defense. And third, you have to treat ESG as a competitive barrier. Being green isn't just for show. It's the price of admission to the most profitable markets.
So the bottom line from the HDIN analysis is this. The winning formula is all about substance, not hype. For any investor, for any strategist, the message is clear. You have to avoid companies where the profits on paper don't match the actual cash in the bank. Instead, you bet on the ones who are mastering digitalization and building tough local supply chains. And this entire breakdown, all these insights, are grounded in the independent, data-driven, and totally unbiased intelligence from HDIN Research.
So that really leaves us with one final question to chew on. In this new world that values function over just thirst, where are you placing your bets? Are you banking on the defensive fortresses of the cash cows? Are you riding the high-growth rocket ships of the disruptors? The answer to that question is going to define the next decade of winners and losers.